as a group and the ways that affects both human and animal.
People can have dogs and cats, and we were told that the reason it's different is because you can have a personal information in the first round.
Was that, so what if we have this relationship with two animals?
The cost of zoos. Why should we spend so much money on zoos?
Both the government and also the opposition team of this debate are aiming at doing animals conservation and also protection towards the animals. However, the opposition team of this house came up with the argument saying that the economic aspects of the zoos themselves, that the zoos make money for the conservation of animals. However, we think in the opposing government team that the money gotten from the zoos themselves is less than the money needed to conserve animals, since we conserve animals forever in the cages and also in the zoos themselves. Second, we also have to preserve the cages, and also we have to take care of the cages, and also we have to pay for the zookeepers. And which, if we think about this kind of thing that we have to do forever, ladies and gentlemen, that this will spend money more even that the money made by the zoos themselves. Second, the opening opposition team also said that zoos themselves are making a better environment for animals. However, they failed to clarify that actually zoos themselves are just making a worse environment, because we know that the nature of animals are meant to be kept in nature, not kept in cages, while people are coming and watching for them and taking pictures of them, which must be very stressful for them. However, also in the opening government team of this house, they didn't know, thank you, they didn't come up with any solutions on how, if we ban zoos, how can we do the conservation of the animals and the protection of the animals keep on going, ladies and gentlemen. So as the closing government of this house, we would like to come with the solution itself, that is, we would like to promote the animals sanctuary itself to be kept on going on. We do not want the zoos themselves to exist in this world, because we do not think that people coming up taking pictures of the animals, meanwhile animals are kept in the cages, will make the environment of the animals themselves better. But we believe that animal sanctuary, where the environment of the animals kept in the animal sanctuary itself is very natural, then that is the best environment that we can protect animals, and at the same time we can also do animal conservation. So here we are standing as the closing government team. We would like to bring three major arguments. The first one is that we believe animal sanctuary is the best solution towards this problem. Why, ladies and gentlemen? Because animal sanctuary, as I said before, that animal sanctuary is just like a wide area of forest, or even like the most natural environment that animals can get. Meanwhile, the people who want to protect endangered species, or even any species that are living or that are meant to live in forests, are still safe, ladies and gentlemen, without even being watched, without even making the animals themselves stressful. Second, the animal sanctuary itself will not cost money as much as the zoos will do, because we do not pay for zookeepers. We only have to limit people to come to those animal sanctuary, so that we don't have to pay anyone, and we just let the animals are still in their natural environment. Second, we do not believe that zoos themselves will keep the animals treated well, because we see that we have read and we have known that so many things happening to the animals kept in zoos. For example, in Thailand, where tigers were left in hunger because the zookeepers themselves were lacking of financial support from the government, so they didn't have anything to buy for the food of the tigers themselves. This actually made the argument of the first speaker of the government of the opposition team fail, ladies and gentlemen, to prove that actually money is not always coming to the zoos themselves. Second, there are also some cases in Indonesia where visitors were actually able to give alcoholic drinks to the chimpanzees kept in the zoos, which prove that actually zoos are not always the safest place for animals to live. We do not conserve animals, we do not protect endangered animals in zoos. But if we limit people from coming to the animal sanctuary, then there is no access for people to endanger or to make the animals in such a dangerous situation. So we believe the third one, ladies and gentlemen, if we keep on letting people and children come and visit zoos, then we are actually making children think that whenever we have money, whenever we can pay, then we can do anything that we want. For example, people pay to get to the zoos, and then they can have animal shows, they can feed the animals. So this will make their unconscious mind think that every time, everything is possible as long as we have money, which will make a future implication later for the children themselves. We believe this will bring a good outcome in which if we keep on banning zoos and we put the animal sanctuary exist in this world, we will have a better preservation, because the preservation and the protections of the animals themselves are still on the way, and the animals can be treated well because they are kept in their natural environment. That's why we are standing in this position. We believe that this motion should be applied. Thank you.
Government actually considered how these animal sanctuaries will actually.
And I think this goes into what Mandela, to what my father Mandela alluded to.
A proper estimate of how many lions there are in the wild is between 20,000 to 40,000.
Equally sized nations. So we're not talking about small.
That civilians are not a legitimate target in war. First of all,
carry on with what the Prime Minister touched on about how
the opening government came up with an argument saying that actually civilians are a legitimate target in a war because they are bringing direct threats to the soldiers themselves, to the people involved in the war itself, ladies and gentlemen. But the opening government failed to explain to what kind of direct threat is actually meant by the opening government itself. Is it just by delivering messages is considered as a direct threat? Is it just by paying taxes to our armies is also considered as a threat, so that we can legitimately kill the civilians in a certain country because they are involved in a war, ladies and gentlemen? And second, the second speaker of the opening government also said that there is no certain ways that civilians are not involved in a certain country. So later in my argument, I'm going to bring some argument which prove to you that actually there is a case which proves that that civilians do not play any roles in the war itself, ladies and gentlemen. And they even clarify here that civilians are involved in the war because they are sending messages to the soldiers. They also pay taxes to the armies. How can paying taxes and also delivering messages kill other people, so that you can tell them that they are actually legitimate targets in the war, ladies and gentlemen? Of course, this will be considered as something which is not a direct threat itself. And how can you even imagine that how can elderlies, how can babies, or how can children even bring a direct threat to support the war itself to keep on happening, ladies and gentlemen? That is what is failed to be explained by the opening government of this house. Let me prove to you how, as the opening opposition of this debate, how civilians can be not involved in a certain war. We believe that civilians are not involved in a war because they are not playing any roles. The war itself happens because first, the leaders of the country, or the presidents of the country decide to start the war because of certain conflicts. No, thank you. Second, the soldiers themselves are readily weaponed to fight and to do the war itself, ladies and gentlemen. Meanwhile, the civilians are not the ones who play the roles, who are deciding that they are going to start the war, or the civilians themselves are not even the ones that are weaponed. They are provided with weapons by the government. So we believe that civilians do not play any roles in the war themselves, so that they will not be legitimate targets in the war. No, thank you. And then the second one, ladies and gentlemen. In the case that civilians are not provided by the government, that they are not provided with any weapons itself, and they are not even provided with any skills to fight, we believe that civilians are not even ready to fight. How can we target people who are not even ready to fight, who are not even the ones who to decide the fight itself? So if in the case that when you want to fight with your friends, for example, because of certain conflict, then you want to fight your friend, you want to do the fight, but then in that case you punch the family of your friend. Is it something that is actually relatable, ladies and gentlemen? Of course not, because the one that we want to fight is our friend actually, and the one who starts the fight is ourselves. Yes, please.
Okay, but your opponent even said that civilians can become soldiers. Surely, like, civilians can become conscripted and become soldiers. Surely it's better to
put an end to them before they become fully fledged trained soldiers. I'm willing to draw that.
Yeah, thank you. That is actually the difference between the civilians and soldiers, as I explained before. That soldiers are provided with weapons. They are skilled also. They are trained by the government in order to fight to keep the country itself. One more point to note here, ladies and gentlemen, if they define that civilians are bringing direct threat in the war itself, how can they differentiate between the direct threat itself and a form of defense or protection towards themselves? We can just simply say that I bring a knife because I want to protect myself from the soldiers of the enemies coming from the enemy country, ladies and gentlemen. How can they differentiate that this is actually a threat or this is actually a form of protection or self-defense towards ourselves? That is why I'm standing here as the opening opposition of this house. We don't believe that this motion should be applied. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, today our first opposition speaker painted a very
really big things in the speech. First of all, we're going to defend the idea of civilians.
Quickly. Over the course of the debate, I think there were sort of three main points of clash. First of all,
right. So I've put this debate down.